The Yankees, they've got a lineup that can put runs up on the board in a hurry, and we saw it in the seventh inning. Bruce made 3 mistakes that cost him 5 runs.
Royals baseball comes to you from steamy Kauffman Stadium for Game 3 between the Royals and the New York Yankees. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the ballpark. I'm Ryan Lefevre with Rex Hudler. The Royals got good starting pitching in Game 1 and won. Bruce Chen got hit late last night. The Royals lost, and now the rotation gets a lift with the return of Felipe Paulino.
That's right, Felipe Paulino. Some guys are saying, well, we're not really sure exactly what we're going to see out of him because it's his first outing of the year. But for my Kia scouting reports on him, he's got to be able to balance and separate over the rubber. That means to balance at the same time, separate, and stay on top of that hard fastball. Don't get slider happy because he's a power slider guy. Also control the tempo, a lot like Bruce Chen last night, and he should be okay.
Royals trying to give him some run support and trying to bounce back last night after scoring just 2 runs against the Yankees. More of Felipe Paulino and his catcher when we come back. Chevy dealers, the official vehicle of the Kansas City Royals. Joel Goldberg will tell us more about the Royals battery when we come back.
JFK, Joel Goldberg out in right field. These two know each other very well from back in Venezuela, also teammates with the Houston Astros, and they live near each other in Houston in the offseason and work out together. The families are close, too, because they are godparents to each of their kids, so there's a lot of trust, Quintero tells me, between the two when Felipe is on the hill, and he will take the hill in just a moment. Royals baseball is coming up next. Paulino set to make his first start of the year. Ryan and Rex have the call when we return.
More like July 5th than it does May 5th. The Yankees snapped a 3-game losing streak, beating the Royals last night 6-2, getting 2 runs in the first inning, 4 in the 7th. And here's Joe Girardi's lineup for tonight, with the one change being Mark Teixeira will bat 5th rather than his normal 3rd position. Alex Rodriguez and Robinson Cano will move up in the order. Dwayne Wise will be in right, and Eduardo Nunez, who got a big hit in that 4-run 7th inning, again will be at 3rd base, and it will be Felipe Paulino returning to the Royals rotation.
Okay, Felipe Paulino will have a power fastball. He's going to go anywhere from 90 to 95, maybe a little bit higher than that on occasions. He will two-seam it and try to sink it down a little bit. Power slider, and he'll have a few curveballs. But everything is pretty strong and powerful from this big fella at 6'3", 260. Try to get ahead.
1-1 to Derek Jeter, who leads the league with 46 hits, and 6 of those in the first 2 games of the series, including a 2-run home run in that 4-run 7th, and he fouls that one off of Quintero. So 3 pitches into the game, and Quintero is stung by a foul ball. 87 degrees, and with the humidity, it feels a lot warmer than that. Game started right on time at 6:10. And the time and temp is presented by the parking spot at KCI. So if he wasn't in the game for the first pitch, Quintero is definitely in the game now, taking a foul ball off the inside of his knee.
That's right, 1-2, he's ahead, but Derek Jeter, we got him out at the first time up.
Getz was guarding the middle and throws him out. Royals defensively tonight presented by Ford.
Hey, defensively, they are 10th in the league presently with 15 errors made, but they've got some good players out there. Hosmer, look at all those starts. He's their mainstay with a big, solid glove over there. Now we'll see Quintero putting down the signs for Paulino with Stockus, Escobar, and Getz around off the infield. And they're hoping to stay active just like that last ball to Getz.
Granderson takes outside, ball one. 9 home runs, 17 RBIs for the Yankees' #2 hitter. He had big numbers last year. He had 41 home runs and drove in 119. 2-1.
Talked about his tempo as some of his keys for good starting pitching, and look at his tempo. He's getting that ball and throwing it.
3 balls, 1 strike.
Sometimes hitters don't like to be quick pitched like that, but they'll step out and they'll try to control the tempo. But pitchers with the ball, they control it.
Quintero sets up inside. Good pitch. Granderson gave up on it, but it had some late movement over the plate.
Just stay right there. Good spot. Keep it down, especially to this guy here. He's tied for homers. Ooh.
Hard breaking ball strikes him out. 2 up, 2 down.
Nice curveball, but you can see how quickly he's getting it and throwing it. That's going to help him keep the defense on their toes. But that little breaking ball there, that fooled him. It looked hittable, belt high. Good downward bite.
Alex Rodriguez just 2 out of 7 in the series and made that dramatic final out on Friday night. That outstanding play, bare hand play by Moustakas, helping the Royals win game 1 3-2. The Yankees bounced back last night and won 6-2. This is the 8th time this year that Alex Rodriguez has been the Yankees designated hitter. There's that hard breaking ball. It's 2-1.
Hey, he's mixing them up a little bit. Haven't seen that power slider but one time.
3-1. And that's a pitch right there that Alex Rodriguez normally drives into right center field. And you and I thought in the first 2 games that he looks like he's just a hair off of his normal timing.
Just a tick. Still early for a lot of these guys. Just barely a month into the season.
Slider got him looking. An outstanding first inning for Felipe Paulino as he strikes out 2. back, getting the Yankees 1-2-3 in the first inning with a couple of strikeouts. And here's how the Royals are lined up tonight against right-hander Hiroki Kuroda, beginning with Gerard Dyson, who has an 8-game hitting streak and a .313 batting average. Humberto Quintero will catch tonight for his good buddy Felipe Paulino. And the Royals, for the first time in a regular season game, will be facing Hiroki Kuroda. First year at the Yankees after 4 years with the Dodgers.
Okay, for the Royals to be able to get to Kuroda, they need to lay off that sinker, or excuse me, that forkball down there for sure. That's a strikeout pitch. But get that sinker up. He's got a good sinker. He's a ground ball pitcher. And try to get to him early. He's given up 7 runs in his 5 starts in the first inning, so you can get to him early, and kind of like they did last night on CC Sabathia. Got a good sinker ball.
Last night the Yankees got 2 in the first inning against Bruce Chen, and as Rex said, the Royals answered with 2 in the bottom of the first. Alex Gordon and Jeff Francoeur with RBI doubles, and it all started with an infield single from Gerard Dyson. 1 ball, 1 strike.
It's not going to be too overpowering, although he's got a pretty good 4-seamer. At times he'll try to get to mid-90s, but not very often. He's more comfortable 88 to 93. Forkball is his out pitch. You can see he's got good movement that starts right inside on the left-handed batter. Kind of comes back over the plate. He's got some good deception in his delivery. Little pause, little leg kick, all to throw the timing off.
On the ground to Jeter, who bobbles, and that's all it takes with Dyson. So Dyson is on. The air by Derek Jeter, and for him, just his 2nd of the year.
And yes, even the greatest miss one now and then. It's 2-3 hopper coming to his left, typically a routine play. Looked like he just didn't see it in his glove very well. Head kind of came up on it some.
Which could be a result of the speed of Gerard Dyson, trying to field the ground ball and keep an eye on him as he's burning up the line.
Okay, now Kuroda's got quick feet. Pretty quick over to first base.
Alex drops down a bunt up the line, and it will just roll foul.
Nice idea right there. Catches some of that grass. He's got him a knock. All right, our 4th defense this afternoon. We'll show you the Yankees. Presently, they are sitting atop of the AL in fielding percentage with only 8 errors. Cano hasn't made one yet. We just saw one with Jeter. 9, including Jeter's error. But Russell Martin's going to get the signal calling duties tonight. But look at this. Just on that grass. If it was on the, right off the grass. If it stays on the grass, it's going to stay fair. But the minute that ball rolls foul, you get it out of there so it doesn't hit a rock and get back fair.
It's a tough time of night because of where the sun is, and you can see Dyson at first base. There is a streak of sunlight that goes from first base up towards second base. So Dyson, when he gets into his lead, he's looking at the pitcher, but he also has the sun in his eyes. The sun is also in Mark Teixeira's eyes. So he's playing very cautiously over at first as Gordon rips it toward the right field corner. Dyson will get to third easily. So Kuroda, as Rex pointed out, has trouble in the first inning, and the Royals are giving him trouble with 2 on and nobody out.
Make that early error by Jeter hurt. So there's a ball up and on the inside part of the plate. Gordon just pulled his hands in, didn't try to muscle it. Don't have to, just put it in play hard. He got first and third, nobody out. A chance to see if Billy Butler can continue his really good hitting with runners in scoring position. He's batting .400.
Billy had an outstanding road trip through Cleveland, Minnesota, and Detroit, but lately he has been struggling here at home. Just 1 for 8 in the first 2 games with the Yankees, and now just 1 for his last 23 at Kauffman Stadium, so he is due to bust out of that. Normally Billy, one of the best Royals hitting at home. Alex got a good break on a pitch in the dirt, so that erases a chance for a ground ball and a double play. And now Billy has 2 out there in scoring position.
Every day before games here at the K, the base runners are out working on this, advancing on any ball that might bounce in the dirt. And they practice that by having a guy right in front of the mound throwing balls in the dirt and having the runners over there making reads on that. So no surprise that Gordon advanced on that one.
There are the numbers Rex was talking about. A 400 batting average with runners in scoring position. So that's 110 points better than his overall batting average. On the corner, 1 ball, 1 strike. In Billy's defense, Rex, at least in the first 2 games of the Yankees, they have really pitched him well. I mean, I think that's about the 5th time he's seen a pitch right there. A slider down and away right on the corner.
Yeah, not surprised he didn't swing at that. Now they're going to try to come in on it.
And Billy whacks it up the left field line. He will drive in 2. So he snaps that one for 23 at home and then some. The Royals have a 2-0 lead.
Just up that average with runners in scoring position, over 400 now. They tried to come in but didn't quite get in enough, and quick hands right there. So it's been good to see 2 and 3 hitters here not try to do too much, just trying to make some contact, and so far so good. They're not hitting them at anybody.
RBIs 17 and 18 to lead the Royals, and now he's at second base with nobody out. In for strike 2, Eric Hosmer. How about this? Have you seen a disparity like this? Now it's just 5 starts, but Kuroda's having a horrible time against lefties. They're hitting almost 400 against him. And righties are struggling to bat 140 against Kuroda. That was before Billy Butler's 2-run double. 1 ball and 1 strike to Eric Hosmer.
Well, you know, left-handers seem to see him pretty well. You know, the ball comes into him on his breaking pitches, and so they're being quick. I think it's just too early a season statistic to make any real comparisons as why. But so far, Kuroda hasn't been showing that forkball of his. He might have to start mixing him up a little bit.
And that's drilled to left field. Ibanez from the shadows into the sunlight. Butler bluffing a tag as Ibanez makes a good throw to third, and another hard luck out for Eric Hosmer.
Okay, Billy Butler, he had thoughts of going back and tagging up on this. And that's a ball up and out of the zone. We've seen Hosmer hit those in the gaps and off walls, but just couldn't quite there. But Butler going back saying, all right, I'm going to try. Take 3 or 4 hard steps, and whoa, boy.
And that'll bring up Jeff Francoeur, who has the most experience of any Royal against Kuroda in the past, and that's just 6 at-bats. He does have 3 hits over that span, and one of those hits is a double. So he might have been a popular guy in the Royals clubhouse before the game tonight. Other hitters wanting to get somewhat of a scouting report. Other than Francoeur, Quintero has 2 at-bats, Getz has 3, and Escobar has 3 against Hiroki Kuroda. He went too far, and it's 1-1.
The Royals currently are second in the league in doubles. Boston's ahead of them with 67. Now the Royals have 63. So they're no doubt going back to last year a doubles hitting machine.
Outside, 2 balls and 1 strike. And in this ballpark, there are a lot of doubles out there. You can lament the fact that many nights it'll be difficult to hit it out of spacious Kauffman Stadium, but with those gaps, The hitter can really load up on doubles and triples. 2-2.
330 down the lines isn't exactly a chip shot. It's got an interesting carom around the outfield, so some visiting outfielders aren't exactly sure how to play it. See some triples in this park too.
There's a bit of a surprise. Alcides Escobar tied for the team lead with 9 doubles. Three balls and 2 strikes on Francoeur. Royals getting good swings, and you have to mention a couple of things. First of all, the Royals as a team have never seen Kuroda, so normally the pitcher has the advantage there. And we've mentioned so many times on a sunny night for a 6-10 game, it's also normally an advantage for the pitcher. He's pitching in the shadows, and the backdrop is in the bright sunlight. Just missed outside. Martin tried to pull it back into the strike zone, and Kuroda walks Francoeur with 1 out.
That's a good AB. He's able to get a few swings to gauge his swing on Kuroda's pitches, and that kind of got him in the game, and ends up winning it with a walk. Saw some pitches expended. That's the 18th one Kuroda's thrown. So if you're the Royals offense, you don't want to stop there. You want to keep going, get another big hit here. Frenchie wants to get a big lead with Teixeira not covering, so he possibly can break up a double play and keep the inning going.
And if the Royals are open for a big hit, here's a guy at the plate who's been getting big hits. Mike Moustakas has driven in 3 in the series. He has 11 RBIs in his last 8 games. Plays off a tough pitch. 1 ball and no strikes.
Hey, the sun, you mentioned the sun earlier. Look at Teixeira. Teixeira right at this moment is hoping Moustakas doesn't hit something over his head or right at him, because he's got that hat pulled all the way down. Doesn't feel like he needs glasses right now. And
1-1 to Moustakas.
It'll be tough when that ball on the line gets in that sun. Good slow breaking ball there.
Here's what we're talking about. Pitcher is in the shadows, but the backdrop, the batter's eye in the bright sunlight, and hitters have said that it's tough to pick up the spin on the ball until the backdrop gets into the shadows. But Royals with 2 runs, 2 hits in the first inning against Kuroda.
And you know, there is a little bit of haze in the air. It's not like a clear blue sky where the sun is extremely bright, but what happens when the sunlight is in the outfield and on the hitter's backdrop is the ball comes out of the pitcher's hand as a shadow. It's a little bit darker.
In on his hands. Infield fly rule is called as Jeter brings it down. 2 away. Now Kuroda maybe not aware of the conditions for the hitter, because he's kind of pitching the Royals carefully and not really coming at them aggressively. He did there with Moustakas, where Felipe Paulino maybe a little bit of a home field advantage, if you believe in that in baseball. And did he factor in the conditions? We don't know, but he just came right at the Yankees. 3 up, 3 down with a couple of strikeouts.
And the run support will help him going back out there.
0-1 on Humberto Quintero.
Quintero, he got off to a blazing start in the first couple weeks of the season, and he was picking up some pretty big base hits. Had a good average with hit runners in scoring position, but he's kind of dropped off a little bit now to 222.
0 for his last 12. He is out in front, and it's 0-2.
So now we'll see if Kuroda throws that fork ball. It's one that starts around about the belt, ends up in the dirt. And there's a difference between a fork ball and a split finger fastball. They both have similar actions, but the fork ball tumbles more.
And that might have been the pitch, but it stayed up.
Didn't have much on it.
Billy Butler with a 2-run double in this inning to score Dyson and Gordon. Butler's at second. Francoeur is at first. So the Royals have a 2-0 lead. And now the first 7 batters have forced Kuroda to throw 25 pitches. So those 7 batters will come up next time and have a pretty good idea of what the ball looks like out of his hand. And a hard slider is swung on and missed down and away. So Kuroda ends the inning with a strikeout. But the inning began with an error, a single, and Billy Butler's 2-run double. At night at Kauffman Stadium to the first 20,000 fans to commemorate the Pine Tar game. And George joined us in the booth last night to talk about not just that, but the events after that when the Royals and Yankees had to finish up that game when the out was overruled and George was awarded a home run. Felipe Paulino, very impressive in the first inning. Good velocity. Good movement on his fastball, good break on his curveball and his slider, and he faced only 3. 2 balls and no strikes now to Robinson Cano.
He'd like to just be able to repeat that inning. Of course, every pitcher would. He'd end up being perfect, but keep the momentum on your side and don't let these guys get on base and ball ahead, especially no free passes.
Another ground ball to Getz, who backs up to the grass and gets Cano by a step. And now Paulino will get Mark Teixeira, who moves from the number 3 position down to number 5. He's hitting just .238 on the year. He did not look like a .238 hitter last night, especially after his first inning home run against Bruce Chen, and ended up with 2 hits in the game. Good late movement at 95 miles an hour, 1-1. 1-2.
It's a .250 hitter from the left side of the plate with a couple homers so far early.
Royals have a big shift on Teixeira with Chris Getz out in shallow right field. Remember the talk recently? Bob Dutton of the Kansas City Star wrote the story about Alex Gordon and Eric Hosmer. I want to start bunting because of the shifts they're seeing. Mark Teixeira kicked that idea around during this past offseason because of the way teams are adjusting to him as a left-hand batter. 2 outs, 3 ground balls, 2 strikeouts so far for Felipe Paulino. The fan of the game sweepstakes is going on now at Olathe Fiat, and you could win a new Fiat 500 pop We are pleased to announce the first finalist in the Fan of the Game sweepstakes. It's Colin Halpin. He was randomly drawn as one of just 6 finalists in a drawing to win the Fiat 500 Pop. For a chance to win, register at Fiat of Olathe, I-35 and 119th Street exit. And in July, one fan will win that Fiat 500 Pop. Ball 1 to former Royal Raul Ibanez. 2-0.
Ibanez, he just has 6 at bats from the left side of the plate so far. Plays occasionally.
With the Royals 2001, 2002, and 2003.
Did a lot of growing up in this organization, didn't he?
Sure did. Went from a minor league free agent to one of the premier left-hand hitting outfielders in the American League. And he hits it on the ground. 6 up, 6 back to the Yankee dugout for Felipe Paulino. This past Thursday, he is the Kansas City Police Department Commissioner Vice President, has been involved in KC law enforcement since 1954. Since then, he has served on the President's National Drug Advisory Council, been one of the founders of Kansas City's ad hoc group against crime, and was Kansas City's assistant city manager and served on the city council. Sitting in the Buck O'Neil legacy seat at tonight's game. 2-0 Royals on Billy Butler's 2-run double in the first inning. One and one to Chris Getz. 2 hits in the first 2 games, including a double.
Now, watching Kuroda pitch reminds me of the year I played there in '93 in Japan.
Nunez goes into foul ground, and he brings it down. So 1 away. We'll get back to that thought in a moment, Rex, because right now we have to welcome in Joel Goldberg, who is the newest member of the 40-year-old club. Happy birthday, Joel.
Thank you, Rhino. I caught you. Did I not?
Not quite.
Well, I mean, as far as being in the 40 club.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I'm never going to really catch you because I think you're a little over a year past me. But Sammy Abramson got there first a few hours before me. Mm-hmm. So happy birthday, 40th to Sammy Abramson. And we don't need to talk about me. Let's talk about Curtis Granderson, if you don't mind, because he did something that he has done before when coming to Kansas City. He visited the Negro Leagues Baseball Museum today, and he actually tweeted out, while in KC, you have to visit the Negro Leagues Museum, NLBM.com. Check out the history, story, and legends. I was talking with Curtis about that today, Ryan. He went for a luncheon today. He said it's his third time at the museum. Went once with Detroit with teammate Marcus Timms. Went with CC Sabathia today. Has been there in the past with his dad. Said he just loves to read and hear about the stories and the hotels that the guys stayed in, and seeing the diverse group of players, also including Latin Americans that played in the Negro Leagues Baseball Museum. He called it a must-see for anyone that visits Kansas City, and I think we all would agree with that.
One of the really good guys in the game, Curtis Granderson, and a go-to guy for Joel if he ever has to interview somebody on the other team for the postgame.
Love those guys. He's a star. Sitting atop of the AL leading home runs. He's tied with Hamilton.
Close but outside, 3-2. Back to your point, you could sit in the upper deck if you've been watching baseball over the last 15 years, and without even knowing Hiroki Kuroda's name, just by watching his pitching motion, you might think this guy has played in Japan, or he's from Japan. Very similar pitching styles. Well, at least the Japanese pitchers that have come to the United States, as Wise retires Alcides Escobar for the second out.
Yeah, and before we wished Goldie a happy 40th birthday, I was talking, just seeing him, it brings back memories. And, you know, just by how methodical their delivery is. They take a little step back with a little pause. They come up top with a little pause. Okay, there's a little pause there. You got a little leg kick right there. He flicks out. They try to use the art of deception along with their off-speed pitches. And it was more of a tricking league. They didn't have a lot of power arms there. Every pitcher had a forkball or a split finger, and I told you there was a difference, and I didn't know that until I went over there and saw everyday action from every pitcher they had. They all had a forkball, a split finger. Split finger's a pitch designed to look more like a fastball, and the forkball tumbles, so you can see a tumbling fastball. I mean, a tumbling forkball that's coming in there. But just the deceptive delivery.
1 2 strikes on Basin. So one of them's a power pitch that tumbles a little bit, right, and the other one is the equivalent of a changeup, basically, that tumbles a lot. Right?
A hitter you could see the rotation of the fork. Now that was a nice off speed there.
Kuroda's second strikeout, and he bounces back after giving up 2 in the first inning. And Felipe Paulino has faced 6, retired 6, 4 outs on the ground and 2 strikeouts. and throws a hard breaking ball for strike 1-2. Russell Martin, who started on Friday night and had 2 hits for the Yankees.
I'm thinking with all the sliders and off-speed pitches we're seeing, that might be the pitch at this particular time of the night here. Early start, an hour earlier at the K. Because hitters, the way they're swinging at it, looks like they're not being able to pick it up.
And what I've heard over the years, it's not necessarily seeing the ball, it's picking up the spin with the pitcher in the shadows and there's the sunlight, which makes the backdrop very bright.
Okay, look at the success and watch some of the swings. Now that one was looking. Quintero couldn't see it. He pulled off it again.
And there's another one right on cue. Paulino strikes out his 3rd, so taking advantage of the elements if he's trying or not. One away in the 3rd inning.
Okay, he's coming right after guys. They weren't sure about, when I say they, Dave Island, pitching coach, and Ned Yost weren't exactly sure if Paulino was going to be so worked up. He's an emotional guy. He's passionate. Throws a big power pitch. If he was going to be all over the place or if he was going to be in the zone. And so far, he's looking like he's been starting all year. His first one of the season for him.
There it is, another hard slider. May I borrow your telestrator?
Sure.
I wonder if this right here that could be the problem, where that doesn't look green in the sunlight. It looks white. I mean, if the ball is coming out of that area in there, they don't have dark green. I mean, the ball could disappear in there.
There's a little glare there too.
Thanks for showing me how to do it. That's my first telestrator, I think, in 4 years.
If you use your nail, it works better.
Oh, okay.
But see, there is some reflection off of that batter's eye, and you hear sometimes hitters complaining about the batter's eye, but it just takes me back to sitting on the bench in St. Louis with Red Shandy's telling me about how they used to hit in Wrigley Field with fans in the backdrop there with all white T-shirts on and everything in the middle of the day and no helmets. They had no fear. They were a little nervous, but they couldn't pick up the ball. So these guys got it pretty good here.
Another ground ball. Second time that Paulino has handled a one-hopper, so he throws out Dwayne Wise, 2 down in the 3rd inning. Well, we hope you'll bring the kids out to Kauffman Stadium for every Family Fun Day Sunday. We have another one tomorrow. The kids will enjoy face painters, balloon artists, kids entertainment by Radio Disney, and much more. Sundays at the ballpark is your family destination. Go to Royals.com/Sunday for more information. We can tell you that tomorrow's game is at 1:10. Luke Hochaber will pitch for the Royals and Phil Hughes for the Yankees. The final game of 4 with New York. A little bit inside, and it's 1-1 to Eduardo Nunez, who snapped an 0 for 19 last night with a 2-out RBI triple, driving in the first of 4 runs for the Yankees in that 7th inning. Two and two.
Paulino's got that excellent movement going so far. Now, one of his keys were not to get too slider happy, because he will throw a lot of sliders when he falls in love with it and makes a few mistakes. But so far, he's really good with his location, starting that pitch middle and ends up away and down.
Still 2-2.
Pitchers throw that ball down below the knees. Looks good to the hitter. They want to swing at it, but it's on the ground most of the time, or they're not able to really put it in play with any authority.
Still 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Good looking crowd here tonight at the game. Enjoying this warm weather. Winds blowing from the right field foul pole to the left. And we saw in last night's game the ball was carrying a lot further with this humidity on Cinco de Mayo Day.
Got him chasing a pitch in the dirt. Quintero will throw down to first. That is 4 strikeouts in 3 perfect innings for Felipe Paulino. and Felipe Paulino has 3 perfect innings. The fan vote to pick the starters for this year's All-Star game in Kansas City has begun, and you can now vote for all of your favorite Royals players. Play your part by punching a ballot when you come out to the game, or go to Royals.com/vote to crown a Royal. July 10th, right here at Kauffman Stadium. Alex Gordon singled and scored in the 2-run first inning.
And that's after attempting a bunt for a base hit down the third base line that went foul.
0-2 from Kuroda.
He's kind of happy that one went foul.
Martin wants the pitch up. Alex wouldn't go for it. 1-2.
Nice to see Gordon in left field now, win a Gold Glove last year after starting his career at third base. Was he just not comfortable at third base? Did he make some errors? What was the problem he was having over there?
I think it was a twofold that he was athlete enough to play somewhere else, and maybe just an average third baseman at the time, and maybe moving to the outfield would clear his mind a bit as he was working on his swing, his game at the plate. And the Royals were dead on. I can't ever remember seeing somebody make a move as dramatically at that and do it so smoothly. I mean, Alex was a good outfielder right away. Kuroda just missed inside. Both he and Martin thought that was strike 3. I can't ever remember, Rex, Alex just looking uncomfortable in the outfield.
Man, he's a natural.
I do remember in his first game, I believe, with the Royals, his first or second game with the Royals, after being called back up in 2010, and the Royals were in New York, and Alex was playing in right field, and one of his first chances, he tried to play a ball off the wall and bobbled it, and it was an error. It wasn't a fielding error. He didn't take a bad route to a fly ball or anything like that, but he had an error very early in the outfield. And from that point on, he looked like a guy who'd played his whole life in the outfield. But one of his very first games was in right field and at Yankee Stadium.
Well, the media hyping this former #1 pick, Alex Gordon, as to being the next George Brett, that had to put a lot of pressure on him too. He's got a good AB going here.
And he powers it into center field for a base hit. So strong enough to get that ball to the outfield. Alex is 2 for 2.
Wins it on the 9th pitch. That's a good thing the Royals are doing, amongst some of the others, is milking the pitch count of Kuroda.
We remind you, as you enjoy a cold one, and it's a good night for that. Look forward to Miller Time later in tonight's game, brought to you by Miller Lite. And Billy Butler is a candidate already with his 2-run double in the first inning.
Next pitch will be Kuroda's 50th.
And it's way outside. Billy had been just 1 for his previous 23 at Kauffman Stadium, which has to be the worst slump for him at home. He hits very well here, but he took care of that, getting around on a Kuroda pitch and driving it up the left field line, picking up his 17th and 18th RBIs of the year.
There's a look at the quick feet of Kuroda.
One and one. Since 2009, nobody has more doubles in the big leagues than Billy Butler.
Well, he has the ability to go gap to gap, sprays the ball all over, no question about it. But we talked about the depth of these outfield fences here and how much ground there is. That'd help too.
2 balls and 1 strike.
Beautiful yard here at the K, and the whole world will see this July. The All-Star game comes here. Great opportunity for the Kansas City fans to entertain and host such a grand event. People are pumped around here.
Alex takes off, and Billy grounds it up the middle. It's a long throw for the second baseman, Cano. He gets some help from Teixeira with the stretch. Gordon moves up to second base. There is 1 out.
Okay, Jeter was playing Butler to pull, and also Cano was playing over there, so the runner was going. Cano was heading to the base. Had he not went after that ball, that would have been a base hit. Little hit and run, you want to hit the ball on the ground so you don't double up the runner behind you. The intention is going first to third on a single, but heck, they'll get a man in scoring position for Hosmer, who's overdue.
Ball 1 to Hosmer. He lined out to left field in the first inning. Got a pitch up and away and lined into left. But when we looked at the replay of that pitch, it wasn't a strike. I mean, that thing was 6-7 inches outside.
He's got 5 homers and plenty of pop middle in. Even out over, he'll pull those. But so a lot of pitchers been trying to get him to go the other way, but he's got some pop that way as well. So he's going ahead and going with it.
2 balls and no strikes. We did our Fox Hot Watch before the game tonight. One of the options was Eric Hosmer would get an extra base hit. I predicted he would hit a home run.
And I picked that one as well. It's easy when you got a guy that's so talented, hitting a lot of atom balls lately, but you know he's going to come out of it. Look at that pitch count. That's not what Joe Girardi had in mind for his veteran right-hander. Still early in this game.
Four pitch walk. So Kuroda with the runner at second, 1 out, pitching Hosmer very carefully. And now thinking about a ground ball and a double play with 2 on, 1 out. And it'll be Jeff Francoeur, and he walked against Kuroda in the first inning. Gordon at second, Hosmer at first. Hard slider away, 0-1.
You know, that's a first pitch guess fastball there with that swing and his head pulled off it just a little. Some hitters will do that. 1 at bat out of their 4 each night. And with a runner in scoring position especially, pitchers try to get ahead. It's not a bad guess. Cano's giving away a little ground at second base, keeping Gordon close.
Martin thinking about throwing to first, but Hosmer diving back quickly, and now Francoeur's ahead in the count, 2 balls and 1 strike.
Okay, now Teixeira, he's also moving over, trying to pick up a little bit of that ground Cano's leaving there. So at first base, he's way off. So Hosmer, he's getting as much as Teixeira, if not more, in case there is a ground ball double play.
There goes the bat, and thankfully it stays on the field, 2-2.
Didn't get in the stands with anybody, but also he gets his bat back on George Brett Pinetar giveaway night. Bat.
And in the spirit of that game, Jeff might need a little more Pinetar on his bat.
Well, they gave away plenty of Pine Tar bats today, but That's what it's used for hitters especially. Sometimes you just lose that grip. Good head position. Just forgot something.
Into right field. Dwayne Wise is back. Gordon tags. He'll go to third with 2 outs. Hey fans, this year the St. Mary's Medical Center Foundation is honoring our late friend Paul Splittorff by dedicating the annual golf tournament in his name. The tournament is June 18th, and sponsorship and golf foursomes are available now. Join Fox Sports Kansas City in supporting the Paul Splittorff Memorial Golf Classic. You can contact the foundation at 816-655-5363 or register online at stmaryskc.com. That'll be at Adams Point Golf Club in Blue Springs, where Paul lived with his wife Lynn. Did I see Jen Splittorff on Real Royals Trivia yesterday? I thought I did. We were up having dinner yesterday. We don't have volume up there. But oh, she was the winner. Well, of course she's the winner. I thought that was her. Blocked by Martin. That keeps Gordon at third base. 2 balls and no strikes to Moustakas. He popped out to short in the first inning.
That was a nice job by Martin smothering that one. Good, fundamentally sound catchers can save some runs that bounced up there a lot by just good technique.
24 pitch inning for Kuroda and 63 total.
And you can see the difference in tempo between Paulino, who's been mowing him down so far, and Kuroda taking his time and thinking about everything and maybe a little unsure of himself. That's a body language that hitters feed off of.
Let him swing.
Absolutely.
It is ball 4, so 2 walks in the inning. 2 4-pitch walks in the inning. 3 in the game for Kuroda. And they're loaded up for Quintero. There's Tony Pena, former Royals manager, and now the bench coach of the Yankees. And this will be Larry Rothschild, the pitching coach, about to have a chat with Kuroda before he goes after Quintero.
Speaking of Tony Pena, I ran into his first cousin, Raymond, and Luddy Lindoff last night down in the players lobby before the teams were let out to come out. And you know, it's nice to see him, and being new in Kansas City here, I like to shake hands with everybody I see pretty much and introduce myself. And Raymond, his first cousin, said, you know, I think if you use less words you might be better. and that was a kind way of saying that I'm talking too much. Yeah, and I was okay with it.
That's what we do in this part of the country. You know, we find gentle ways to say things.
It was kind, and I liked it. I said, hey, you're right, sir. I'm working on that. I appreciate that. Raymond, Luddy said she's a big Royals fan. And also Steve Flint from Raymore, Missouri. He was a guy I ran into, and he said, love them Royals. Keep doing it, Hud. So it's really nice to hear some fans out here and talk to them, getting feedback. Appreciate y'all's support.
Quintero fouls it away, and the excitement this year matches that perhaps of the 2003-2004 seasons. The Royals almost won the division in 2003. They hung in until about the middle of September. A lot of excitement going into 2004. Ended up being a disappointing season, but it was Tony Pena's enthusiasm as Royals manager that helped the Royals overachieve in 03. Anderson will play it in center field. The Royals had the bases loaded but failed to score against Kuroda in the third. Was it Jeff Francoeur gunning down Johnny Peralta again? Chris Getz game-winning RBI in the 9th. That was on Wednesday. Eric Hosmer with this scoop in the 9th inning on Thursday. That was for the double play. And then Mike Moustakas to end the game on the slow roller from Alex Rodriguez. We will announce the winner tomorrow. Ivy Royals live tomorrow before the 1:10 game. Ivy Royals live beginning at 12:30. Text 432-432. Enter keyword Royals, a space, and then A, B, C, or D. All right, let's see if the Yankees have made an adjustment on Felipe Paulino, who just glided right through New York in the first 3 innings. 9 up, 9 down, 4 strikeouts. Every out was on the ground. And this should be another one as Escobar throws out Jeter. He's 0 for 2.
Well, one thing that was for sure, you knew that whenever he hit the ball, which is hot as a firecracker, he was going to give 100% down that line. I talked to him earlier before the game, Derek Jeter, about, hey, Derek, you've done that your whole career. You're a legend and a surefire Hall of Famer. Do you accept anything less from your teammates when you maybe not see them run the ball out? He looked at me and he said, no, I address it. I said, do you do it in front of people, or do you do it, pull them aside one-on-one? So I'm not a big fan of doing it in front of people, but I definitely let guys know that to show respect for the game, you run 90 feet hard. Here, this is what we do.
3 pitches, and Curtis Granderson strikes out. That's 5 strikeouts for Paulino.
His teammates got him that 2-run lead in the first inning, and he's gone out there and just executed pitch after pitch. Slider's working well. He's got a little curveball he's using more of. And I'm sure the scouting report the Yankees got that was Paulino is going to come at him with fastball, fastball, fastball. A couple sliders, but he's kind of pitching backwards a little bit, but he's got great command.
A little bit below the knees. There's still a little bit of a glare up there, but the backdrop no longer in the bright sunlight. It's not as bright as it was earlier in the game, and the outfield is now completely in the shadows, so it'll be easier for the hitters to pick up the spin.
Now, if there was a left-hander pitching, that might be different. Coming out of the left side, a little glare might be a problem.
Rodriguez struck out looking in the first inning against Paulino. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Three and 2. 96 miles an hour with that fastball. And there's the Yankees' first base runner. It's a 2-out walk to Alex Rodriguez. Hey parents, don't forget to sign your kids up for Slugger's Blue Crew, presented by US Toy. And the kids will be part of the fun all year long as members receive a batting practice jersey, a backpack, a water bottle, ticket vouchers, front of the line access for every Sunday fun run, and much more. All that for just $20 and that haircut. Join now at Royals.com/Blue Crew.
Look at that mohawk. That's a beauty.
Hosmer at the bag, 1 step, inning over. 4 hitless innings for Felipe Paulino, and the Royals have a 2-0 lead. Open in Brookside. Visit us online at PaneraKansas.com. And by AT&T, the world's largest 4G network. AT&T, rethink possible. 2-0 Royals on a Billy Butler 2-run double in the first inning. And Felipe Paulino has 4 hitless innings. Chris Getz, followed by Alcides Escobar and Gerard Dyson, are coming up for the Royals in the fourth against Hiroki Kuroda, who is about to throw his 70th pitch already. And Getz grounds it up the middle, and Jeter was playing that way and throws him out. So Chris Getz is 0 for 2. All right, our AT&T trivia question for tonight. Are you ready?
Bring it.
George Brett. No. Who were the 3 Hall of Famers to play in the Pine Tar game? All right. George is 1.
Well, they played in the game. That means they weren't on the bench. If you're a Hall of Famer, you're pretty much not on the bench.
Goose Gossage.
How about Reggie Jackson?
'83. Two balls and 1 strike.
May not have been there then.
Two balls, 2 strikes on Escobar. Give us a chance to look at our league leaders, brought to you by your Kansas City Toyota dealers. Alcides Escobar among American League shortstops. Stolen bases first, extra base hits second. How about that? And 4th in batting average. 3 balls, 2 strikes.
He's a player. I mean, people know him mainly as an acrobatic, very agile like shortstop with a cannon for an arm, but he swings a good bat too. He goes the other way a lot, just like there, right at it.
So good scouting by the Yankees. Normally that'd be a base hit in the hole on the right side, but Teixeira was guarding that hole for the second out.
You know, when we had George Brett up here last night, he was talking about that game and stuff, and he said, hey, you know, it's nice to be known for that in my career, the Pine Tar game. And so I started thinking, wow, you mean this guy had more hits by any third baseman in Major League Baseball history, 15th all time, 3,154. How could he be known for the Pine Tar game?
That's not the only thing. Dyson is out, and so are the Royals in the 4th inning.
Performance from Felipe Paulino, so hopefully won't need to look at the bullpen, but nice to see Tommy Hotovy out there. The Kansas City native made his Kauffman Stadium debut last night. Said he was actually a little bit more nervous, guys, for that one than he was his Royals debut on the road, just because it was Kauffman Stadium. And he had a lot of family here last night. Mom, dad, his brother came in from Oklahoma City with his twin kids, and so the twins, 2-year-olds, Avery and Wyatt, had a chance to watch their uncle. And I asked him, well, what did you think about Uncle Tommy? It was good. Did you like watching Uncle Tommy? Yes, that and the fireworks. They were very excited about the fireworks, but pretty cool to see the Hotovy family here last night. Mom, dad, brother, niece, nephew, sister-in-law, wife. Big moment for the Hotovys.
To grow up and root for a team and then play for that team.
That's a huge thrill for him. You know, what a personality, too. Bubbly guy, you know, has had a kind of a tough road. I called him young man the other day, and he looked at me twice, especially with all the other younger guys on this team. He's 30 years old. He goes, oh, thank you.
Almost as old as Joel.
Not quite. Ooh.
Wow.
Uh-oh. What's going to happen here? He didn't like that.
No.
Okay, now most umpires, when they call timeout when the pitcher's ready to deliver the pitch, they'll point to who called it.
Now that's bad right there. Just because Mark Teixeira steps out of the box, he doesn't call time. The umpire calls time, and it wouldn't hurt for the umpire to throw his arms in the air and let Paulino know that time had been called.
So Greg Gibson should have just stayed behind and waited for the pitch to come to the plate. You don't have to grant the hitter timeout. Just because he's walked out doesn't mean that umpire has to go with him.
Three balls, 2 strikes. And Paulino, if he could do it again, may have thrown the pitch anyway.
Right, just stay with it. If you're a pitcher and that happens, that'll mess you up.
2 balls, 2 strikes. Players have muscles that help them accelerate, whether they're throwing or hitting or running. They also have muscles that help them decelerate. And sometimes when a player checks a swing too hard or stops throwing when they were going to throw or stops running abruptly, that's when they can also strain a muscle, just trying to slow down too fast.
So just keep going.
Puts him away with a hard slider, and that's 6 strikeouts for Felipe Paulino. And every strikeout has been with either a hard slider or a hard curve.
Boy, perfect location. Teixeira, most power hitters like that ball down there anyway, and it started up in the happy spot and ends up down and out of the zone. Excellent pitches there, and those are quality strikes.
Royals are 1-1 in this series with the Yankees going back to Thursday. They got 5 1/3 innings from Danny Duffy in game 1 and 6 2/3 from Bruce Chen last night, trying to give the bullpen some time to regroup. And now Felipe Paulino has been outstanding in 4 1/3 innings, not just with his results, but also with his pitch count. He does not have a 20 pitch inning yet. And that is the first base hit for the Yankees tonight. So a round of applause, Yankee fans, for Raul Ibanez, and Royals fans in appreciation for what Paulino did in 4 1/3 innings.
No, great job of going after these guys and dissecting them. That pitch was down low and looked like it was away. Give Ibanez some credit for going the opposite field with that stroke on the located pitches. Perfect spot. A little bit surprised today that Ned Yost said that there were 3 mistakes by Bruce Chen last night in that one inning where they scored all those runs with 2 outs. And I was thinking to myself, okay, the hanging curve to Jeter was a definite mistake, and I think maybe early in the game That little snap hook homer that Teixeira hit on the slider down might have been. But I was having a hard time thinking of the third one. And so our excellent guys in the truck that worked together, our teammates, showed us the 3 pitches Ned was talking about. And we'll see it. Last night, Bruce Chin was dealing, looking good. Now, that pitch there was out over the plate. Okay, that was early in the game. That's one mistake. Now, that one was, I thought, a pretty good pitch. I didn't think that was a mistake. That was on the outer half. Now, this one was a definite hanger to a firecracker hot hitter. But that was it. Bruce pitched an outstanding game. Just that one inning, couldn't finish him off. And that's what good offenses will do.
And sometimes you have to give the hitters some credit, and Bruce was pitching so well. He had those 2 runs in the first inning and then was working on a 6th consecutive scoreless inning. Runner at first, 2 outs, the 8 and 9 hitters coming up. And I don't know how you felt. I felt, okay, this inning's over. He's going to go 7. But then the Nunez triple we just saw, Stewart with the RBI single, Jeter with the home run, and in a flash the Yankees had 4 runs. And now they have runners at first and second with 1 out in the 5th inning.
Well, that's the difference. I'm sure Kuroda's figuring out this year coming over from the Dodgers is the 8 and 9 hitters aren't exactly easy outs in the American League. Now, that ball stayed up a little bit. Russell Martin's able to fight it off to the opposite field. But there's a big difference between leagues. And pitchers, if you're going from the American League to the National League, you're going good. At least that number 9 hitter's a pitcher might be a little easier for me. And the 8th hitter typically is a guy that, you know, is a second leadoff hitter.
Or just a step up from a pitcher, right?
Exactly. I mean, that's my category. That's where I hit most of the time in the National League.
Dwayne Wise hits it into center field. Dyson getting behind it as Ibanez tags and holds, forcing a throw. 2 outs.
Okay, nice job by Gerard Dyson. Okay, Ibanez a veteran guy, but like Derek Jeter advanced on him in game 1, and Dyson on the ball, he kind of sit back on. He tags up at first and went to second. Gerard gets it back. Now he's coming forward to get some momentum on his throw. That's textbook. And Ibanez stayed, and it was a good thing. Well played by Gerard. Those are the little things that add up to big things, especially when you're trying to get established like Dyson is in center field for the Royals.
And here's Nunez, who got that rally started in the 7th inning last night with a triple the other way. He had been 0 for 19 going into that at bat. And now just 1 for 7 in this series. Ibanez is at second. Martin is at first. 1-1 to Nunez.
Nunez 4 for 6 with runners in scoring position this year, so he does have the ability to shorten up his swing and just put it in play. But it won't be easy for Ibanez to score with Frenchie's arm in right and Gordon's arm in left. Dyson just showed that last throw. He's got a pretty good arm.
And you want to make something happen here, because waiting on deck is Derek Jeter, who leads the American League with 46 hits. So this is the guy Paulino wants to get right here with 2 outs. And he's 3-1, just missed outside. First time he's had 20 pitches in an inning.
Okay, Nunez knows what's coming pretty much. Paulino wants to throw him a fastball, get it over, make him earn his way on, but sometimes that's the advantage to the hitter. 3-1 count, fastball situation.
Paulino concerned with the runner at second base, and that makes Humberto Quintero want to go out and talk to Paulino about the 3-1 pitch and make sure he's focused on the right guy.
And wasn't a long meeting. That's good. Keep Paulino's focus.
He walked him, so the bases are loaded for Derek Jeter. And now will be pitching coach Dave Island taking a trip to the mound.
Well, I don't know what Dave can say here to Paulino except for to keep the ball down like he did his previous 2 times he faced Derek, and he got him out.
Maybe also give him a chance to catch his breath on a hot, humid night. And this is the longest inning he's had all night.
You know, the Yankees, they're a patient team. They get a lot of walks. And this will be the 24th time that a hitter's come to the plate with the bases loaded. The Yankees are 6 for 24 in those situations, compared to the Royals have just had 11 bases loaded.
Jeter is grounded out to second and grounded out to short. With 1 out, Ibanez singled, Martin singled, and with 2 outs, the number 9 hitter Nunez walks. And Jeter fouls it away. 97 miles an hour.
That's right. Jeter knew that was coming. Bases loaded. Get that first one. He's going to try to get ahead of me. Gerard Dyson, the center fielder for the Royals, he's playing to the opposite field, and that's where you play Jeter. Great inside out swing. Leaves a pretty good sized gap in left center.
1-1. Paulino faced the Yankees once last year. That was his only career start against New York. Jeter had 2 hits in that game. Paulino's pitched him very well tonight. Needs to pitch him very well right here as Jeter pulls it foul, and now advantage Paulino 1-2. Paulino's outpitch tonight. His strikeout pitch has been a hard slider, and he has 6 strikeouts tonight, including 1 in this inning against Mark Teixeira with that pitch. He goes hard stuff, ties him up. Escobar will throw out Jeter. So the Yankees threaten but come up empty, and the Royals still have a 2-0 lead. Well, if you're excited for this year's All-Star game, come on out on Saturday, May 19th for an exclusive 2012 All-Star Garden Gnome presented by Pepsi. Gnomes will be given out to the first 10,000 fans. That's the Royals and the Diamondbacks at 6:15. Make sure to get here early. The gates will open at 4:30, and you can go to Royals.com or call 1-800-6-ROYALS for tickets. Warm, humid night on Cinco de Mayo. Starting to cool down a little bit. Temperature in the upper 80s, but with the humidity feeling much more like the mid-90s. That little girl is dressed perfectly for the weather as Alex Gordon pulls it through the right side, and he's 3 for 3 against Hiroki Kuroda.
There's a first pitch fastball. Gordon was sitting on it. It's right where Martin wanted for strike one, he thought. Gordon was ready.
Royals had 4 base runners in the first inning. One of them was because of an error by Derek Jeter. They had the bases loaded in the third but failed to score. So they've had plenty of runners, and so far only 4 hits, and Alex Gordon has 3 of the 4 hits. Billy Butler has the biggest hit, and with 2 on and nobody out in the first inning, he doubled against Kuroda, driving in Dyson and Gordon. Ball 1. That was Billy's 7th double and his 17th and 18 RBIs to lead the Royals.
Billy got hot on that last road trip with his pants blouse and showing a lot of royal blue. So he's staying with it.
2 balls and no strikes.
Hey, back in the first inning, this monster replay showing Billy Butler pulling his hands in on an inside fastball. Didn't quite get in. That played it a couple. Nice stroke, Billy B.
Second night in a row the Royals have come up with 2 runs in the first inning. It was a couple of RBI doubles last night in the first inning. Slider makes it 2 balls and 1 strike. Kuroda had a 9-pitch 4th inning, and he really needed that because his pitch count was spinning out of control in the first 3 innings. 68 pitches in the first 3 innings. He is up over 80 with nobody out in the 5th. 2-2. You mentioned when you were playing in Japan that that's not a power league when it comes to pitchers. It's more of a off-speed league. And I know one of the things that teams who have signed a Japanese pitcher have had to deal with is a lot of long counts. Very typical for a Japanese pitcher. A lot of 2-2, 3-1, 3-2, and very high pitch count.
Yeah, you know, they're not too worried about that because the Japanese way of thinking for pitchers is to throw, and then throw some more. So in between innings, when they went 1, 2, 3, they left the mound. They would towel off and they would start playing catch with the catcher on the sideline during the game. Right after their inning, they would start playing catch again.
Alex runs and Billy hits it to the gap. So Alex keeps running. Billy Butler has driven in 3 with a couple of doubles tonight. He has driven in all 3 runs in a Royals 3-0 lead.
That was a hanging slider, and Billy Butler, you couldn't have wiped the slobber off his mouth. He saw that and he says, go right ahead. I'll take that one. That was a cookie. And Gordon, Cano tried to trick him a little bit, but Gordon picked it up right away. He says, no, I see the ball. You can't trick me. I'm not stopping at second. And he's able to score the run. But Billy Butler, go ahead and drive the early bus for the Royals.
I guess by the time a pitcher sees the slobber going down a hitter's chin, it's probably too late, right?
It is, but it's not an exact, but that's what the hitter's doing. He's saying, wow, man, I am hungry for something out over the middle. Don't give me that one. And again, he's a doubles machine.
Now remember, Billy's nickname is Country Breakfast. 0-2 to Eric Hosmer, who was walked and lined out to left field.
Yeah, that was a early biscuit he got. Now that first double he hit knocked into, that was a pitch that was on the inner half, and it was really kind of where Kuroda and Martin wanted it.
Ball may have come up and hit Martin on the hand. Still 0-2. They're just starting to get going in the Yankees right field bullpen. Lefty Clay Rapata begins to throw. We saw him in the game on Thursday in relief of starter David Phelps. 85 pitches now for Hiroki Kuroda. What else is new? That's the 27th line out this year for Eric Hosmer.
Okay, for the Royals tonight, we talked about it before the game. Okay, get that sinker up. They've done that. Get him early. 2 runs in the first inning. Nice job. Lay off the forkball. So far they have. Kuroda has just 2 punch-outs. And he hasn't been really burying that forkball at all. Hadn't thrown it a whole lot.
Could be possibly when he was warming up today that he didn't like the feel for it. We did see a couple early in the game that just didn't tumble like that pitch should.
He was overthrowing it.
One ball and 1 strike on Jeff Francoeur. One ball and 2 strikes. Boy, Eric Hosmer, he hit the ball hard in the first inning, but he hit the daylights out of that pitch from Kuroda in this inning. And it seems like in the first month of the season, when Eric Hosmer hits a ball hard, unless he hits it into the seats, there's somebody standing right there. Francoeur picks him up with a base hit to center. Eddie Rodriguez is going to hold Butler at third. Jeff Francoeur picks up his first hit, and the Royals have runners at first and third with 1 out.
Frenchie will take it. Good hold by Eddie Rodriguez, third base coach. 1 out. Got a chance to get a sacrifice fly. No need to try to force in Billy Butler, who runs well, but not well enough to take a chance there.
90 pitches, and that's all for Hiroki Kuroda, so he'll depart with left-hand hitting Mike Moustakas coming up, and Clay Rapata will be the Chevy call to the bullpen for the Yankees. all 3 runs. Before we get to the pitching change, let's answer our AT&T trivia question for tonight. There were 3 Hall of Famers in the Pine Tar game. We've identified George Brett, Goose Gossage, and I'm going to throw in there Dave Winfield.
Got it.
Now, the trick to that question was which 3 Hall of Famers played in the game. Winfield was on the roster, but I don't remember if he did anything in that game. I know what George Brett and Goose Gossage did in that game. Joe Lavera, our producer, tells me that Dave Winfield was not only in the game, he had a home run in the game.
Winnie. Big Blood. That was his nickname.
So they bring in the lefty to face Mike Moustakas, who's had a pretty good year so far against left-hand pitching.
He has, and he's going to really be tested here with the sidearm action of Rapata. He's not going to overpower you. He's kind of a finesse guy. High 80s. Fastball. He'll get a little cutting action, a little slider change up to righties.
Two balls and 1 strike. This is Moustakas' first at bat against Rapata. He pitched on Thursday, but he came in and faced Dyson and Gordon, and then he came out. .429 batting average against left-handers.
Kevin Seitzer said that he's keeping his front side closed. Now he starts open, but he's able to keep it closed.
Into right field and not deep. Billy Butler will play it off the bag as Dwayne Wise makes the catch. 2 down.
Just not deep enough for Billy Butler. Eddie Rodriguez said get halfway in case he drops it. Moose not happy. Now Joe Girardi, he says, all right, that's my situational lefty, and let's go get a righty.
So another Chevy call to the bullpen. Right hand hitting Roberto Quintero coming up for the Royals. Pitching change for the Yankees. Who's this? League play begins for the Royals on Friday, May 18th. The Arizona Diamondbacks will be here at Kauffman Stadium. And it's Buck Night and Fireworks Friday, as hot dogs, peanuts, and soft drinks are just $1. Then stay after the game for Friday Night Fireworks, presented by Hy-Vee and Pepsi. Go to Royals.com or call 1-800-6-ROYALS for tickets. This is right-hander Cody Epley, who was just called up from AAA prior to last night's game.
Okay, what Quintero's going to see is a sidearm sinker, slider, mainly to righties, and he'll have a changeup that'll go to lefties if he leaves him in for gets. Billy Butler at third base, he's chomping at the bit to score.
Quintero wanting to get a long look at that first pitch, takes strike one. Outside, 1 ball, 1 strike. The Royals have seen Epley when he was pitching with the Texas Rangers, and he started this year in the Rangers organization, was placed on waivers a month ago today, and the Yankees claimed him, and now he makes his first appearance for New York. And Quintero rolls it foul. He's down 1 ball and 2 strikes.
Doesn't look like there's a whole lot of sink to his fastball. It looks pretty straight. Quintero was behind it. Now you see that look that Billy Butler, especially with his pants bloused and the royal blue showing. I think Eric Hosmer needs to change up. Maybe Eric could show that look.
Because you think it was that look that got Billy Butler going.
It did.
You know?
It was. Back on that road trip, he got hot. He just changed it up, so he's staying with it. Hitters do that from time to time. Now, sometimes they don't want to let you think that they're struggling. They're going to try to change something different. They're going to hit their way through it, and most guys do. But some guys want to change the look.
And then once you start hitting, you don't want to mess with the streak, so you leave it that way.
That's right. Any little runs that you can get off of the Yankees is important.
Francoeur runs, and Quintero chops it out to Robinson Cano. The Royals get 1 run. Billy Butler has driven in all 3. A 2-run double in the first inning. And here in the 5th, after Alex Gordon's single, Billy drove him home to make it 3-0. Top of the 6th inning, and now we're going to talk some pitching with Jeff Montgomery. And a lot of things I like about Felipe Paulino tonight. What stands out for you?
Well, I think the fact that he's attacking the strike zone so well, Ryan. He's really getting ahead of batters. First pitch strikes, I think, is a key for a lot of pitchers, and especially Felipe Paulino. He possesses great stuff. He has a dominant fastball, but when he throws a breaking ball for strikes, especially early in the count, it sets everything else up for him.
Yankees were without a hit until 1 out in the 5th inning. Now they have a couple of singles against Felipe Paulino. He's 2-0 against Granderson, followed by Alex Rodriguez and Robinson Cano. And Granderson pulls it into the right field corner. So after striking out in his first 2 at-bats, he has a leadoff double in the 6th inning.
Did you notice what the count was there?
2-0.
2-0.
Right down the middle. Now, last season, he seemed like whenever he got into trouble, Dave Island was saying it was from the stretch. Now, we'll see from him from the stretch right here, but that pitch there was down and in.
Well, one thing we saw, I thought a lot from him, Rex, last year was when he would get in trouble, he'd try to speed things up. He really would. He would just really try to overthrow the ball. And we've talked about the hitters at times. Really do what you're capable of doing. Don't try to overdo it. Don't try to hit a 6-run home run. And with the pitcher, same thing. You have to sometimes calm down, back off a little bit. And I think he's done a much better job of that tonight compared to what we saw from him last year.
He's always going to be labeled as the guy who has a great arm and has great stuff, and he's trying to make that transition from a thrower to pitcher. He's kind of right in the middle of the road of that. He's not still a thrower anymore. He can still, pitch and use all of his pitches.
Well, and especially what I've seen from him tonight, he's pitched backwards at times. And by pitching backwards, we're talking in a fastball count. He'll throw that breaking ball and vice versa, and it makes each other's pitch much better.
So it's part of becoming a pitcher learning how to feel for the ball a little bit?
I think a field pitcher, he's not as much of a field pitcher, but when he's throwing his breaking ball, Rex, he has to have a good feeling for that pitch when he's out there. And I know I was a field pitcher. When you're a guy that has to throw all your pitches at any count, you have to have a good feel for the ball, as opposed to a power guy who's just able to dominate and throw the ball by guys.
Now, Dave Island said that he really, sometimes when he does get off of his game and leaves the fastball high, which we haven't seen that much, how he separates from his glove to his hand as he's balanced over the rubber, and he's doing well when he's staying on top of the ball, but once he gets out in front, he separates a little bit more in front. Maybe we can see a shot of him, and you can talk about the balance over the rubber, how important that is.
You have to be on your backside. You have to have that backside over the rubber as long as you possibly can. That allows you to get the arm up on top and essentially throw downhill. And when you're throwing downhill, the results are great because the ball's got that trajectory where the hitter's going to hit the top half of the ball. We saw so many ground balls here in the first part of this ball game from Felipe Paulino, and that was a sign of him throwing the ball downhill.
Chop foul, 2 balls and 2 strikes from Alex Rodriguez.
Okay, let's take a look at him here now. The balance over the rubber, the separation, he wants it right. He wanted it sooner.
Well, what you want to do is you want to stay balanced. Imagine a flamingo just standing there almost holding up that left side for him is holding up, allowing the body to get on top. The biggest mistake pitchers make is they allow their front side, or for him the left shoulder, to fly open too early. When that shoulder flies open too early, the arm has to take a shortcut. And by taking a shortcut, it essentially is pushing the ball again instead of throwing downhill.
Rodriguez once again still alive at 2 balls, 2 strikes.
And Rex, think about it as a hitter, when you're seeing a pitcher and he's exposing his arm in that ball, and you can track it for a long period of time, much easier to hit the ball. Whereas if you stay closed and tight for a pitcher, you keep the ball behind you, and the hitter doesn't see the ball. It's almost like it comes out of nowhere, and then it's on top of you.
I like to talk about that because we do look for the ball as soon as we can, but when he hides it, all of a sudden there it is, and he's kind of has a quick arm motion down.
Granderson's going to tag. Francoeur is going to come up throwing. On the money, double play.
Is that number 102?
I don't know, but that was a perfectly hit ball for him to be able to do that. Now, Francoeur, he couldn't wait till Granderson went. He was hoping he did. Watch the accuracy, the trajectory there. It's not a high arcing ball. It is right on the money, honey. One hopper, tag the foot, you got to go. Excellent pick-me-up for Paulino now with 2 outs. That's what defense does, and there's a little bit of emotion there.
Well, that's a risky play for 2 reasons. Number 1, the obvious, this guy's arm in right field. Number 2, well, you've got Cano and Teixeira coming up, and now they come up with nobody on base in a 3-run game.
Very big out. You think of all the times that a ball's hit on the ground, and it seems like the defense has the everything's positioned perfectly. The ball's hit hard, and the shortstop's playing right where the ball's hit, or the second baseman's right in position. I just can't figure out how these opposing teams haven't figured out that Jeff Francoeur's got one heck of an arm out in right field.
He's got more assists than anybody in the last several years.
Now that's a huge play as Cano drops it into left center for a base hit, so he's at first with 2 outs. While we have a moment, we should update the Royals disabled list, and Greg Holland, who's on his way back. One of the steps in his recovery today was to throw batting practice. So why don't you take us through, Monty? I mean, you're on the disabled list, then you throw. How important is this step?
Well, you got to get a feel for the mound, get the footwork down again. Today he was able to throw 25 pitches. Apparently he looked good. I didn't get a chance to see him, but his velocity was there. Needs to work on the command a little bit. So I think from a health standpoint, things went well. He's going to play catch tomorrow and Monday.
And Francoeur, for good measure, slides to make the catch in right field to end the inning. It was the Frenchie quarter on Thursday and tonight. From Felipe Paulino. Good defense leading to our Sonic Slam inning. Our contestant is Jenny Hinkle from Lenexa, Kansas. And if the Royals hit a home run in this inning, Jenny wins $2,400. If the Royals hit a grand slam out of the park, Jenny wins $25,000 from Sonic and the Kansas City Royals. 6 scoreless innings for Felipe Paulino, and got a big lift from his defense, in particular Jeff Francoeur in the 6th.
Well, we've heard a lot of fans talking about how the starting rotation needs a little bit of help, and I kept hearing Paulino, and now I know why. Got to see him a little bit in spring training, but his forearm tightened up before he could get in much action.
Getz is 0 for 2 so far. No swing, 2 balls and no strikes. Paulino last year coming over from the Colorado Rockies, where he was 0 and 4 with an ERA over 7. Now that was pitching out of the bullpen. The Royals liked him as a starter, and he pitched 21 games for the Royals. 20 of those were starts and an ERA just a little bit over 4, and he finished the season strong. And now he's starting this season strong after beginning the year on the disabled list.
I'll say.
Four-pitch walk. So good speed at first base to begin the 6th inning.
Hey, Joe Girardi, he's going to do a little scrambling in there and see if he might have to get somebody else up. Now we have a situation with Ned Yost's action guys out there. Getz is on at first, a definite stolen base threat, and you got a guy who can handle that bat. And Alcides Escobar.
And now the Yankees are just going to try and buy some time. Larry Rothschild walks out, and the Yankees go to work quickly in the right field bullpen. Remember, you can follow the Royals with MLB.com @BAT12 app for your iPhone, iPad, Android, and BlackBerry. Also Windows Mobile. Get live audio, pitch tracking, video highlights, and more. Just text @BAT to 31826 or visit Royals.com for details. You know, this also could be a bunt situation here, Rex, but I would think this would be tough to bunt on if you're a right-hand hitter.
Well, actually, it's going to help you. When you square around, it's going to keep your front side in. And a sinker bomber is going to be ball's going to be moving down a little bit. So really, he's not having to swing against him if he does square around and bunt. So it's not as hard as trying to swing at it. Bunting, it's a little bit easier. Because all to key that front shoulder and that front foot in. Keep it in.
If he does keep the front shoulder in.
Yeah, Escobar is really good shooting the hole. Nobody out. He may try a chance to steal Getz.
And Escobar, who's done a good job this year hitting the ball to the opposite field and hitting it hard to the right side. Grounded out sharply to Teixeira last time up. And the Yankees think something's up. They want to keep Getz close, and they want to see if they can get Escobar to tip his hand.
Well, Getz wants to be able to at least see what the kid Epley has home, and to help him will be Doug Sisson. He's got a stopwatch in his right hand there. And what he does is now he's going to go over and he's going to tell Getz what time it was from when he released the ball to the catcher's mitt. And anything over 1.3 with
1.3 seconds.
Right, with 1.3, you can get a good jump, you can steal the base. So maybe they'll try to steal him and then bunt him over. But Escobar looked like he was going to sacrifice.
Not running and taking a strike. 1-1 on Escobar.
Escobar wasn't showing sacrifice there. Now Epley, he's thrown over a couple times, and you could tell by the way he threw the ball, he wasn't real comfortable throwing overhand over there. So he just lobbed it. So Chris Getz can see that, and he can get another half a step.
Didn't run. It's 1-2.
Eddie Rodriguez flashing the signs, and with a 1-2 count, you're not going to ask Escobar to bunt, and that's because he's such a good contact hitter for the most part. Ned Yost is going to try to let him move him over. Russell Martin, he's got a great catch and throw and a release.
That foul ball got Dyson. It hit that stone wall next to the on deck area and then ricocheted off of his left leg.
That was an emergency swing. He didn't want to get called out on us too close, and there it was. Paching right off of his calf. He didn't need that.
The other way and foul. So doing the right thing to try and hang in there against Epley. Now the Royals have gotten doubles from Butler in the first and fifth innings. A 2-run double in the first, an RBI double in the fifth. However, both of those doubles came with nobody out. So those could have been bigger innings with a runner at second base and nobody out. Butler did not score in either of those 2 innings, and now the Royals have the leadoff man on here in the 6th and really need to try and turn that into something as Escobar shoots it through the hole. Getz will challenge Dwayne Wise. Wise won't even bother with a throw. So a very good at bat for Escobar, and the Royals are in position to score again.
Oh, and that's one of the reasons why he let Escobar swing away. He had the confidence that he could hit that hole. And there's a perfect pitch to do it. Right it over the middle, down low. He waited on it, hit it on the ground. That's the whole idea. Hit it behind him. Now Joe Girardi is wearing a path out to that mound here for the Yankees. And if you're a Royals hitter, that's a good thing. Getting into that bullpen deep.
It'll be lefty Boone Logan to face Gerard Dyson when we come back. Follows with a single, so first and third, nobody out. 3-0 Royals in the 6th, and it's lefty Boone Logan, and he'll get Gerard Dyson, followed by Alex Gordon. Now you were saying, Rex, that something the Royals could do against Logan with the runners and the hitter at the plate would be a safety squeeze.
Yeah, you know, it's a possibility. I don't know if Ned will do it, but Dyson is a good bunter, and a safety squeeze is not a suicide squeeze where the runner just takes off in mid-pitch. He kind of comes down a little bit, and Dyson gives himself up and just kind of puts it where they're not. Now Girardi's going to play his infielders in, so if the corners are in, it might take that away, but what that does, and now it opens up all of these lanes to hit the ball in. He's got all kinds of lanes, so and he's a contact hitter, likes to hit the ball on the ground. Maybe he can find a hole with the infielders in.
Well, the Royals were thinking safety squeeze. By the way, I just saw something that opened up. I don't know if the Yankees messed up with coverage here, but if Escobar had run, Jeter came into the grass and Cano went to first. There was nobody at second base. What if Escobar takes off here?
Yeah, well, now he can read that. Escobar is heady enough. Ooh, man, he almost got caught there. Looked like he was going. Escobar got back just in time.
So he was gonna, yeah, he saw what we saw. He's running, and the Yankees will just give him second base. It's still a stolen base, and for Escobar, his 7th. So a base hit for Dyson could drive in 2. He could still, with the infield in like this, I mean, if he drags one to first.
Easy way to pick up a ribby. But if they're going to give you second base on that, go ahead and take it.
Nice is not typically a candidate to ground into a double play with his speed. He has grounded into one, but if he hits it hard right at somebody, the Yankees could turn 2. But right now they're more concerned with cutting down that potential 4th run at third base.
Well, the biggest hole on the diamond is right up the middle by the pitcher. So if you kind of shorten up your swing, don't try to do too much. Just try to play pepper with it. Get the ball back up the middle. You got two ribbies, even though the outfielders are very shallow. But Escobar can get a huge lead at second base.
Out into left center field, dying. It is caught. Ibanez goes into a full turn and throws off line, so Dyson gets the job done, and the Royals lead 4-0.
Okay, Dyson had the right idea. He just didn't quite stay on top for a base hit, but taking advantage of Ibanez and throwing hard is not his strength, but also he was moving towards the left, so it's hard for him to get his body in the angle to make a good throw home. Gets his good speed. Eddie Rodriguez says, go ahead and to go.
Alex Gordon is 0 for 15 against Boone Logan, but on Thursday night he hit it as hard as you can hit it and lined out to center field. So sometimes the numbers mean that a hitter is just all mixed up against a pitcher. Sometimes there's some bad luck mixed in. And Alex is having a good night tonight. 3 singles, and he has scored 2 of the 4 runs. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Okay, he's on the ball. Fastball up and in. He pulled that. That's exactly what you do with that almost identical spot. He's able to muscle that one up the middle. And he finds the hole there. So he's got a good night going. Sponsored by Mazda.
And into center field again. Granderson was shallow, and he'll pay the price for that. Alex picks a great time for his first hit against Boone Logan. He is 4 for 4, and he gives the Royals a 5-0 lead.
When I was checking the outfielders out, I was seeing how shallow they were because they were thinking Gordon might just stay on the pattern he'd been doing, hitting singles, and they took a chance. And Gordon was able to make a pay. Sitting way outside, ball was left up. Okay, you can see him up here. He's very shallow, looking for a little base hit up the middle. But he got up underneath it. There was no chance for him to catch that one, and Escobar scores easily. Now they're going to put Billy Butler on here with first base open. Face the left-handed batter, Eric Hosmer.
Billy tonight has driven in 3 of the 4 runs with 2 doubles and leads the Royals now with 19 RBIs. Last time Alex Gordon had a 4-hit game was last August, so the 8th time in his career he's had 4 in 1 game, 3 singles and a double. And now the Yankees are going to have another chat on the mound before pitching to Eric Hosmer. So a walk, a single, a sacrifice fly, a double, and an intentional walk. And Freddie Garcia, who started the season in the rotation, pitching in the bullpen, is warming up and probably getting ready for the hitter after Hosmer, Jeff Francoeur.
It's been quite a while since a Royal starter has benefited from this kind of run production, and wouldn't it be fitting for Felipe Paulino to his first start to be the recipient of these excellent timely hits and runs.
Eric Hosmer pops it up, and Jeter, with the infield fly rule called, makes the catch. Hosmer is 0 for 3, which includes a couple of lineouts. And now we'll see if Joe Girardi will make another move and bring on Freddie Garcia to face Francoeur. is standing on the top step of the Yankee dugout. And he's going to leave Boone Logan in. Francoeur has walked, flied out, and he is singled. He also had a great inning in the top of the sixth for Felipe Paulino. He threw out a runner at third, Curtis Granderson, after an Alex Rodriguez fly ball, and then made a sliding catch on Mark Teixeira.
And you know, that was a quick pick-me-up too for Paulino. We saw the emotion as he was backing up third base after that excellent one-hop throw from Frenchie. That was a big momentum turner for him. Got him the second out and went and finished it off.
1 ball, 1 strike. Chop to Cano. He'll flip over to Teixeira to end the inning. A 2-run 6th inning. Dyson gets a sac fly, and Alex Gordon, who's 4 for 4, has an RBI double. The Royals have a 5-0 lead over the Yankees. Dealer near you. Visit steeldealers.com. By AT&T Uverse, the new wireless receiver from AT&T Uverse. Visit att.com/freeyourtv. Rethink possible. 5-0 Royals, and Felipe Paulino is done after 6 scoreless innings. In our Time Warner speed pitch comparison, we'll just focus in on him. He ran it up there at 98 miles an hour. Get downloads up to 50 megabits per second with Time Warner Cable Ultimate Internet. So it's in the hands of the bullpen now, and Jose Mijares comes on in the 7th with Ibanez, Martin, and Wise as the scheduled hitters.
Mijares has been very effective out of the pen. Good hard fastball, slider. Curve balls too. Take a little bit of speed off of it.
And 2. Ibanez has singled and grounded out.
That was the change of speed with his breaking ball there. He slowed it down.
Quintero wanting this pitch down and away, and that's where it was, but not tempting Ibanez. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Royals starting left-hand pitchers Danny Duffy and Bruce Chen in the first 2 games. So Jason Nix, a right-hand batter, wasn't left. And now Ibanez gets the start tonight. Quintero making sure that Ibanez isn't peeking at the signs. Just missing 2-2. Gets, goes up to make the play, 1 down.
You like those if you're a pitcher, but if you're a defender, you like them too. They're like right at you. You see it. You just got to time that jump, especially on the line. Now Ibanez is not happy, but he did hit the ball right on the screws, right to him. Getz didn't have to move. Just jump a little, maybe a lot.
Ball 1 to Russell Martin, who is 1 out of 2 for the Yankees tonight. Morris pitched on Thursday night in game 1. Went 2/3 of an inning, gave up a couple of hits and a sacrifice fly. He faced Granderson, Teixeira, Rodriguez, and Cano tonight. Ibanez, Martin, and Wise. Blasted to left field. So the Yankees are on the scoreboard as Russell Martin hits it to the Hall of Fame.
Well, he knew that fastball was coming. With a 5-run lead, Maharis says, you know, all right, I'm going to go right after it. Good short compact swing. Martin knew it, put his head down and started running.
And Maharis back with a strike to Dwayne Wise. Yankees are his 6th major league team. He has been with the Blue Jays and the Reds twice in his career. He was a Rule 5 pick. I remember with Toronto back in 2000, only played in about 30 games or so, and then was back in the minor leagues in all of 2001. One ball, 2 strikes.
426 feet for that Martin home run.
At least.
His 3rd of the year.
Fastball got him looking, so Maharis comes right back, and that is the 2nd out. Jeff Francoeur made a great throw back in the top of the 6th inning. It's our AT&T Uverse reverse replay.
Now, Frenchie saw this. Now, that's a pretty deep ball right there. But I'll tell you, not for him. Frenchie, he's thrown out more guys than a Bourbon Street bouncer.
Which is appropriate with the Frenchie quarter.
No question. Smiles all right. And that picked up Paulino big time.
At least more guys than a Bourbon Street bouncer since 2005. Francoeur's first year in the big leagues.
No question. You know, you'd think, like Jeff Montgomery was saying when he was up here, you'd think that they just wouldn't challenge him anymore.
In our Sprint You Call It question, we showed you some of the plays of the week, and one of them was Francoeur throwing out Johnny Peralta. And why Johnny Peralta continues to run on Jeff Francoeur, I have no idea. Francoeur has thrown him out 3 times in the last 2 years, including maybe the best throw I've seen in the big leagues when he threw out Peralta here at Kauffman Stadium last year. Here are the 3 on Peralta. Now that first one, you're just catching the tail end of that, Rex, but he picked that ball up with his bare hand and began with his back to third and threw that strike. This is this season on the last homestand, and then on the last road trip. I think Johnny Peralta gets the message.
And it's just not the arm strength as much as it is the accuracy.
Drilled to center field. Dyson is on the move, and Nunez hits it off the padding. He has a 2-out double.
Dyson playing Nunez to the opposite field. He didn't have much of a chance. You could see how far over he was right there, and then that ball was, you could tell by the sound that he really squared that up. Absolutely no chance to catch that one.
So Maharez gets 2 outs. He allows a run. He's still liable for Nunez at second base, and now Nunez has some words for home plate umpire Greg Gibson as one Royals in the top of the 7th inning. Tonight's copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Kansas City Royals Baseball Corporation and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Kansas City Royals. Ryan Lefevre with Rex Hudler, Joel Goldberg, director Steve Kurtenbach, producer Joe Lavero, our associate producers Al Broughton, Sam Abramson, and while we have a moment, we want to send our best wishes to Mike Carruthers, our normal stage manager, who is not feeling right, so he's taken a couple of games off. So Doc, we're thinking about you, and we also need to remind everyone of the birthdays today. Joel Goldberg, Sam Abramson, born on the exact same day today, and 40 years old. Happy birthday. Here's Sammy. Replay extraordinaire.
That's awesome. Now, Sammy would have much preferred a nice breakfast.
I think Sammy would have been okay if just a girl showed up and said hello to him. I mean, he didn't need the cheesecake.
He's a breakfast guy.
Yeah.
He would, you know, you brought him a plate of breakfast, he'd eat it in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
He does great work. You see him in there, you know, all got his headphones on, all those computers and everything. It's an interesting thing out there in the truck, but those are our teammates, and we couldn't do it without them.
Was that a 4-flavor cheesecake?
It's pretty colorful. Herrera's got him down 0-2.
Really jammed Jeter, and Moustakas guns it to Hosmer to end the inning. Yankees get on the board. Stretch time at Kauffman Stadium. Royals lead by 4 with Moustakas, Quintero, and Getz coming up. Stadium, and with other scores in the American League, here's the birthday boy.
Thank you, Ryan. Panera takes us around the league. Baltimore has gotten some great performances from Jason Hamill this year. Detroit won walk-off fashion yesterday. Today, Paul Konerko and Adam Dunn going deep in the ninth for Chicago. Texas and Cleveland all tied up in the ninth. That's been a good series. Cleveland playing great baseball. Other action to talk about around the American League. Oakland and Tampa Bay all tied up. Toronto and LA, Minnesota and Seattle just underway. Also want to remind everybody, our Sprint You Call It, voting for the play of the week. We'll reveal that tomorrow on Hy-Vee Royals Live on our plays of the week. And Ryan, also on Hy-Vee Royals Live this week, you mentioned Real Royals Trivia yesterday. That was indeed Jennifer Splittorff, Paul's daughter. She was indeed the winner. And I try to make some of the questions a little bit easier, and I gave her one where the obvious answer was Mark Gubicza. And she just gave me a look and looked at me and said, Mark Gubicza. And she just gave me a look that kind of, reminded me of Paul.
Yeah.
Like, what kind of question is that?
Yeah, I remember the look.
Yes. And I said that on the air, too. Is that a look straight from your dad?
Joel, you might become a game show host someday. Be careful.
I think that would not be a good idea.
You have those skills.
Sammy does, by the way, love breakfast any time of day.
Uh-huh. You, just so you know, and you figured this out already, Rex, but if we're on the road and you're looking for a place to have breakfast, ask Sammy. Jeter calls off Nunez. Moustakas is out. He is 0 for 3 with a walk. And it is Freddie Garcia pitching for the Yankees. Resurrected his career a couple of years ago with the White Sox. He went 12-6, signed with the Yankees last year, won 12 more games, but struggling this year, and he has been bumped to the bullpen from the rotation. And David Phelps pitched in his place as a starter on Thursday.
Hey, well, Freddie just didn't get going early, and he said, hey, look, I'll be the first to tell you, I'll go to the pen. The league's hitting .391 off him. He's got a fastball. He's going to sink his fastball. It's not overpowering. 85 to 90. Slider, slow curve. He's got a great split finger when he gets it working.
Nunez plays the short hop. and throws out Quintero, 2 away. Freddie Garcia has been a professional player since 1994. Made it to the big leagues with the Seattle Mariners in 1999, first from the Astros organization, and then he was part of a big trade in 1998. Trade that involved Randy Johnson going from Seattle to Houston, and some no-name players at the time going from the Astros to the Mariners. Many became good players, including Freddie Garcia, Carlos Guillen, John Halama.
Well, they cleaned up. That helped the Mariners be respectable. They had some pretty good teams then,
including that 2001 team that won 116 games. You know, the Mariners haven't been to the playoffs since that year.
Ran on some hard times.
Yeah. That team and that stadium, I mean, you figure they were going to dominate that division for a long time. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Angels came along and they had a little run. Now it's the Rangers, so they're swapping powers in that league. And speaking of the Angels, guess where Albert Pujols is playing tonight? El Bencho.
Wow. I heard he was booed in Anaheim last night.
Yes. He's hitting 198. No homers and 5 RBIs.
In a month. It was a month tomorrow when the Royals open the season in Anaheim. Yikes.
Yeah. I think the fans have grown tired and impatient and waiting for their multi-millionaire to get going. Happens in this game. It's not that easy. Changing leagues, changing teams.
And even though he's dealt with the pressure before, being a 3-time MVP and a couple of World Series with the Cardinals and being their franchise player, there's something about going somewhere else where that you're out of your comfort zone now. And I mean, if he would have done this with the Cardinals this year, I don't think he's getting booed. I mean, there might be a boo here or there, but I mean, he got the kind of money that you can't afford to have a month like that. The Angels can't afford to have a month like that.
No, and I think the latter that you said is the thing that's affecting him the most. It's changing teams after 10 years with one team. He's never experienced that before, and going to the West Coast where it's a little different there in the LA media and stuff. It's a different change for Albert. He'll get adjusted, but so far he's gotten up to a slow start. And it didn't help the fact that the Angels, they marketed him on billboard signage all over Los Angeles, El Hombre, the man. And that's not Albert's style. And he heard that or saw one of those and he says, whoa, 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 who said that they could say that? That's not who I am. I'm not the man. So there's a lot of reasons for their slow start.
Gets it first with 2 outs, on base for the second time. He's walked twice. He walked last inning, leading off the inning. Escobar followed with a single, and Gerard Dyson's sac fly got Chris Getz home. Escobar wouldn't be a bad guy to lead off the next inning, so Royals might run Chris Getz. If he's safe, a single gets him home. If he's out, you have Escobar leading off the 8th. Started to go. The Yankees thought he would go. They pitch out, and Getz is back safely to first.
Okay, good move by not going. They would have had him. Those pitch outs and throwovers are all called by the manager. Or in Girardi's case, Tony Pena, who's his bench coach.
One ball, 1 strike to Escobar.
And they watch the runner and they know he can run already, but they look for little signs of like a track star in the starting blocks, and he's anticipating the gun. And so sometimes he'll jitter, false start, or little things like that, and then they'll get a sign and they'll say, okay, well, let's pitch out or let's pitch over. He looks runnerish.
Now he is running. The pitch is high, and the throw is not in time. Fifth stolen base for Chris Getz, and the Royals' second stolen base tonight. Second stolen base in the last 2 innings.
Excellent jump. Going all the way, not peeking back to the hitter, focusing on getting to that base. Fifth bag. Two outs, taking his lead. He doesn't have to look around at the outfielders because he's going to run on anything.
Grounded to third. Nunez backs up to play a tricky hop. And the throw to Shera stays on the bag.
Wow, he's good over there. Most first basemen are not going to be able to keep their foot on the base. Good call.
Summary back at Kauffman Stadium getting ready for Boulevard Royals Live. We're going to be talking about Alex Gordon, who has raised his average 30 points alone tonight. The 2012 debut of Felipe Paulino and much, much more coming up, including a preview of tomorrow's matchup, the Yankees and Curtis Granderson starting off with a double here in the inning. But we'll preview tomorrow's matchup too, Ryan. And, you know, want to mention one more thing. I learned something interesting about that pine tar game tonight that I didn't know, because we talked a lot about it on the pregame show and even the use of pine tar. You know who the umpire was supposed to be, one of the umpires in the game when it resumed 25 days later?
Steve Palermo.
Steve Palermo. Did you know that?
No, I just figured
obviously
who else
it's
would
a
it
pretty
be?
good guess. I mean, it could have been anyone. He was supposed to be on that crew. That was his crew. And he was on vacation. But they had actually talked with the league office, and the league office said, you know what, Billy Martin may appeal to first. But let's just be safe and write an affidavit that covers all 4 bags. So there you go. Story always gets more interesting.
It's one of my favorite parts of the story that, you know, the league knew that Billy Martin was going to do something, and they were ready for it. And because the crew was different, and when they concluded the game, when the out was reversed and turned into a home run, of course his argument is, well, we think George Brett missed first base. The umpires say, no, he didn't. Well, how do you know? You weren't here. It was a different umpiring crew. I wish there was a reverse camera angle available then. They didn't have as many cameras during the games as we do now, just to see the look. If we could see the look on Billy Martin's face from the other side when the umpire pulls out the signed affidavit.
That threw a loop for him.
Oh, man.
Ooh, good change up there. So
there's Steve Palermo.
One of the greatest umpires in the business in his day. And now he supervises, studies, and golfs when he can.
And what a courageous story his is. Steve Palermo. Back in 1991, he was in Texas and having dinner with some other umpires, and somebody came screaming into a restaurant that one of the waitresses was being mugged. So Steve Palermo runs out there to rescue this woman, and one of the fellas had a gun and he was shot and paralyzed. Thought that he might not walk again, but he worked hard to walk. I was in college and the World Series was being played in Minnesota that year, the Braves and the Twins. And before game 2 of the World Series, I believe it was, the one I went to, Steve Palermo walked with the aid of crutches from the first base dugout out to the mound to throw out the first pitch, and he needed no introduction. If there was an introduction, nobody heard it because 50,000 people stood up and were screaming for him. And of course, in the Metrodome, there was no place for the sound to go. And he just walked out there with determination and stood out there like a brick wall and threw the pitch, got off the field, and they started the World Series. And I mean, there was.
He's one of my heroes. What a dry eye in the house.
No. It's hard to keep your eyes dry just retelling that story.
No question.
Robinson Cano with Granderson at second base and 1 out. Cano is 1 for 3. Quintero's going to go out and have a word with Kelvin Herrera. Final game is tomorrow at 1:10. Luke Hochevar will start for the Royals and Phil Hughes for the Yankees. Royals, if they can hang on tonight, we'll be trying to take 3 out of 4 from New York before the Boston Red Sox come to town, and you'll have two pitchers with good arms trying to do something with their ERAs tomorrow.
Yep, Phil Hughes is up around 8 of the ERA, and the league's hitting almost 300 off. But Herrera's going to try to not make this thing interesting here. Keep boring in that hard fastball, mix in some changeups. And an occasional curve.
If you weren't with us earlier, Felipe Paulino in his return to the Royals pitched 6 scoreless innings, giving up only 4 hits and striking out 6. Ooh, good heat, man. Wow. I don't know if it's 101, but it was heat.
Yeah. And Cano had his A rip, but not a chance. There's that Linda Ronstadt pitch. Maybe he's got another one in him. Okay, quite a contrast and change of speeds.
Now let me ask you a question. You just throw a fastball by this guy. He obviously couldn't catch up to it. Why then would you come back with a changeup?
It's a question you'll have to ask Quintero. He's calling the games for the rookie.
Another changeup, and it's pulled on the ground to Getz. Granderson goes to third, and there are 2 down. There was a time, and it wasn't that long ago, that when a pitcher had a hitter beat with a particular pitch, he would just keep throwing it until the hitter proved that he could hit it.
Right. Sometimes you speed the batter's eye up with a slider or changeup. In Herrera's case, and he'll beat you on that sometimes. You don't want to get beat by your second best pitch. Although Herrera, that fastball is around high 90s, maybe 100 at times. His changeup's a pretty good one too.
And he ended up getting him with the changeup on the ground ball. And that's a great changeup to Teixeira.
He reminds me of Frankie Rodriguez for the Angels when he came out of nowhere in 02. It was an extra guy they had in the bullpen, and they brought him up from the minors that no one saw in the league, and he tore it up. 2 pitches, hard fastball and a big breaking ball, and the Angels went on to win a World Series largely because of that kid. He was a new weapon. No one had seen it, and he had this kind of stuff. There's this occasional breaking ball right there.
Got him to chase a changeup in the dirt. So a leadoff double, but Granderson fails to score. Five-1 to the bottom of the 8th inning. They won game 1 on Thursday with the Yankees. Yankees tied it up last night. And now the Royals ahead 5-1 to the bottom of the 8th as Freddie Garcia stays on after pitching a scoreless 7th. Top of the order, Dyson, Gordon, and Butler.
You know, tonight is what they call a supermoon.
That's a fair ball. And a tough play for Martin as he had to get it over Dyson and to Teixeira, one away. A super moon?
Right. I was reading that on tonight, Cinco de Mayo, May 5th, it's the closest to the Earth. Okay, now that was a heck of a play by Teixeira just to keep his balance and get off of that base. But Dyson, a good bunter, gets a little swinging bunt there. Super slow motion camera is really cool.
Alex Gordon is 4 for 4, tying his career high with 4 hits. It's the 8th time he's done it in his career. So a chance to establish a new career high against Freddie Garcia. Alex has singled 3 times and doubled. And he has added exactly 30 points to his average tonight, up to 267.
Why not put an exclamation point on your night and go deep for your 5th knock?
Well, he happens to have 1 hit in 9 at-bats against Freddie Garcia, and that hit was a home run. Got to pitch up, fouled it away. Good game all around for the Royals. Good night at the plate. excellent night on the mound. Paulino, Maharis, Herrera. And another very good night for the Royals on defense.
Ooh.
Look out.
I would think he was a little out front of that one. And that was changeup.
He almost hit the gal, I think, who took the cheesecake to Sam Abramson for his birthday, a member of the K crew.
Almost is the good word there.
Yeah. And Alex is down on strikes. No argument with home plate umpire Greg Gibson. 2 down. So Billy Butler comes up, and as promised earlier, it's Miller time, brought to you by Miller Lite.
Okay, Billy Butler. He's what I like to call the bus driver. Started early in the first. They want to get on Kuroda early. They did. They scored 2 because of that nice double. And he wasn't done. He saw another ball that floated up around his eyes. His eyes got big as that moon we just saw, and knocked in another one. 3 ribbies, and he's not done. There's nobody out there on the bases, but he has a chance on a nice humid night with the wind blowing out to left field to get one up.
One and one against Garcia. Billy is a .357 hitter against Garcia with 14 at-bats, 3 doubles, 5 hits altogether. 2 and 1. Yankees in the top of the 9th have Ibanez, Martin, and Wise coming up. Center field. Didn't quite get it. Granderson brings it down. So we go to the 9th. Tim Collins coming on. Royals lead by 4. This 4-gamer with the Yankees. And on the mound tonight, Felipe Paulino, Jose Maharis, Kelvin Herrera, and now Tim Collins for the 9th. Paulino with an outstanding performance coming back from the disabled list, striking out 6 in 6 scoreless innings. The Yankees got a run against Jose Maharis, and then Kelvin Herrera was impressive in an inning and a third. Worked around a leadoff double in the 8th, and now Collins with Ibanez, Martin, and Wise scheduled to hit.
Like that opponent's batting average at 200. Got it down there low. He's really sneaky. He's been, when he spots his fastball in the mid-90s on the corners, he's tough to hit. He has that big curveball I'm sure Ibanez will see.
And another number that really stands out for Collins is the 3 walks in 14 2/3 innings. And you know, I was just thinking that one of the keys for the Royals in this series and every series against the Yankees is to limit the walks. The Yankees have always been a good on base percentage team. They will draw a lot of walks. In fact, the Royals coming into this series had the most walks in the American League, but in the series they've only walked 6, and this is game 3, and no walks have turned into runs. One ball, 2 strikes.
And Collins, he'll throw an occasional changeup, and that was what the previous pitch was. And that pitch isn't usually thrown to lefties, but sometimes it's okay to throw it. Collins' action on his changeup is more of a straight changeup than his fading change. Let's see if he throws that big breaker. There it was. Didn't quite get it where he wanted it.
Ed Yost 2 spring trainings ago, Rex, really emphasized the importance of Tim Collins throwing his change. He's gotten through the minor leagues by throwing hard, and with his size there's a lot of deception in that hard curveball, but Ed making sure that Collins is a 3-pitch pitcher rather than mostly a 2-pitch pitcher in the minor leagues. Got a fastball in on Ibanez, and it's still 2-2.
You know, sometimes when you're a 2-inning guy like Collins is, you need a little bit more, and he has quality pitches. And I mentioned his changeup is more of a straight one, and go along with his mid-90s fastball that Ibanez fouled off, but that was well located on the inner half. Big curve. It's no wonder he's as successful as he is. The fact that he is a big competitor as well.
Ibanez goes the other way. Alex is back and onto the warning track for out number 1.
Ball just kept carrying and carrying, and when it went up, I thought it was going to be a fairly deep left field fly ball, but not all the way to the wall. Got it up there in that Kaufman breeze tonight.
The only run for the Yankees tonight came on a home run from Russell Martin in the 7th inning. An impressive home run to left field, but that's it. Yankees also lead the league in home runs hit. They've hit 3 in this series. The Royals have allowed the fewest home runs in the American League. And Martin trying to hit another one, and there's a good changeup from Collins. So Martin was convinced that he had a fastball, and he swung right through it. Two and one.
So why not double up with it?
Well, it goes back to our conversation last inning, which I don't know the answer to. It's just a question. But if a pitcher has a hitter beat with 1 pitch, should he stay with it? Or does the pitcher assume that the hitter will be looking for that pitch? Martin drives it deep to the opposite field. Dyson can't quite get to it. So Russell Martin is a triple shy of hitting for the cycle. A single, a home run, and now a 1-out double in the 9th inning.
Okay, he's able to get on board that fastball there. Good short, quick swing. He's compact tonight. You're hitting that home run, let that ball travel a little bit deeper and hit it where it was pitched. Dyson charging hard in center, but it was well placed.
Andrew Jones will bat for Dwayne Wise. Joe Girardi sends a right-hand bat up there. Jones started the first 2 games of the series in right field, and he has 4 hits, including 3 in game 1 on Thursday. Fastball is a little high. Got the borderline call, 1-1.
Collins wants to finish this one himself. Big fella Broxton, he's out there just playing some light catch, throwing a little bit off the mound, just in case they need him, but Collins wants to take it himself.
If another runner reaches, it becomes a save situation. Collins is 1-2, and Jones is not very happy with the strike zone of home plate umpire Greg Gibson. Curveball in for a strike, and Jones is just going to walk away, shaking his head. But Collins coming up with a curveball that just had him all mixed up.
3 outstanding pitches, and look at how high it started. It started out high around his neck, and then it comes back around the belt. Good spot, little up, but you know what? He's got to go.
You know, I have a theory on that pitch, Rex. I think that should always be called a strike, even if it's a little high, because if Jones hits that ball out, you say that he hit a curveball that was up, and the hitter can't have it both ways.
No, I agree with you. That's a good hitting pitch, and it should be called a strike, and it was.
Getz was playing up the middle. He will throw out Nunez, and the Royals take game 3. So a 2-1 advantage over the Yankees. Good starting pitching, good bullpen work. Royals come up with 5 runs on 8 hits. Billy Butler drives in 3. Alex Gordon has 4 hits. And it was a good game on defense.
That Francoeur assist brought the crowd to their feet. Helped Paulino gain some momentum at his excellent start. Man, they got to be pumped about that.
Royals have won 6 of their last 9 games. They get their 2nd win at home. Felipe Paulino gets his 1st win of the year. Hiroki Kuroda takes the loss. So there were plenty of highlights for the Royals in a 5-1 victory, but one that really stands out, Alex Gordon, for the 8th time in his career, has 4 hits, and he has really turned around a slow start, and he's standing by with Joe Goldberg.
Ryan, thanks a lot. I am down here with Alex Gordon, and before we talk about the hitting, not just for you and the offense, I know how much you guys have been waiting for that pitching to come around. What did Felipe Paulino mean to you guys tonight?
Yeah, we missed him. You know, he's been on the DL for a while, but he came out. He's been doing it in the minor leagues for a couple weeks now, and he, you know, continued it today. So it was good to have Felipe back and to do what he does.
How much could you sense early on, too, with his quick pace and the way he was retiring guys, that you guys could have a chance in this one?
I just thought before the game, just, you know, talking to him, just seeing his approach, his calmness, and everything, he was going to have a good game. He just walked out with confidence and took it into the game.
Starting to see a lot of guys hitting this lineup, and I know Hosmer feels like he's getting closer, hitting a lot of balls hard, but is there a confidence level right now collectively that this offense is getting going?
Yeah, we knew we were. We got off to a slow start, but so what? It's early on, and we got a great team, and we believe in ourselves, and you know, Hosmer's been hitting the ball, you know, rockets right at everybody, so it's going to come around. He's our best hitter in the lineup, so we have all the confidence in the world in 1 through 9.
What's been the difference for you two starting to string a lot of hits together? You got Billy hitting behind you, which I'm sure isn't a bad thing either.
Yeah, you know, I love hitting in front of Billy. I'm going to get a lot of pitches to hit, and you know, all I'm trying to do is get on for Billy, you know, Francoeur, Hosmer, and those guys, and try to score and, you know, put some runs together.
4-hit night, great job.
Thank you.
All right, that is Alex Gordon, and no shaving cream pie there for him, but Jeff Francoeur just tried to throw a cup of water at him. All is fun when you are winning. We'll talk, Ryan, more about Alex Gordon and much more coming up on Boulevard Royals Live.
All right, thank you, Joel. Rex, who is driving the bus tonight?
Well, Billy Butler was the driver with the ribbies, but Alex Gordon had the knocks. He was all over it.
We'll be right back.